Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I hope all is well. Today I'll be talking about enduring hardship with the story Pursuit of Happyness. Directed by Gabriel Machino, starring Will Smith and his son Jaden Smith. This is a film that narrates a compelling true life story from homelessness to a successful career on Wall Street. While this film may not have any biblical overtones, I've been able to find the themes of perseverance, faith and triumph over adversity, with the striking correlations with biblical narratives. Today, I'll be talking about the 5 key motifs, such as tunnel vision, testing of faith, sacrificing, seizing opportunities, and believing in your ability. This is a story on how individuals can face life challenges with numerous of obstacles. With that being said, let's dive straight into the video. In this story, we can see that Chris Gardner is carrying the weight of the world on his own shoulders. Whether that's being 2 months late on rent, or not even being able to pay the taxes, or on top of that, his wife constantly disrespecting him, making him feel less of a man, and amongst other things too. We also see Chris go through the most demoralizing of situations in his life, such as trying to sell these bone density scanners, but he's always constantly being greeted with rejection. But he has the constant drive to keep on moving no matter the circumstances, because he has blind faith on the journey he is embarking on. In your path to being somebody in this life, faith is really important because it just keeps us going. Although we can't see it, we can feel it, and we should have a constant desire to seek it. In Hebrews 11 verses 1, it says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen." In life, it's inevitable that we'll go through suffering to achieve the glory that's awaiting us. For example, Joseph of Egypt went through so much pain and suffering. He was a slave, then he was put into prison, and then after many years, he received promotion through Pharaoh. In the grand scheme of things, the term tunnel vision is a tendency to think about only one thing and ignore everything else. We see Chris on Wall Street minding his business when he sees a man pull up in a Ferrari, and he asks him what he does for a living. After exchanging a few words to the man, he knew he wanted to be a stockbroker, and nothing else crossed his mind. His wife, Linda, wasn't the biggest fan of this idea, but her doubts and discouragement didn't get to Chris's thinking, because he knew that's what he wanted, not just for himself, but for his family. We fast forward. Even in the events of homelessness, he still shows up to the internship, which is not even paid, by the way, and he doesn't make any excuses whilst doing so. Chris had a goal, and he knew that he had to perform, because if he didn't, it won't only damage him, but he'll damage his child as well. His unwavering commitment to providing a better life for himself and his son mirrors the biblical concept of enduring trials with steadfastness and determination. Today, people have a problem which is called the paradox of choice, which is having too many options to choose from, and as an end result, it can problematize decision making. As soon as Chris knew that being a stockbroker was for him, no other vocation crossed his mind, and he set his heart and mind to it. No matter the circumstances, you should set systems in place for you to lock in and achieve your goal. Commit your plans to God, and He will establish your steps. Eliminate distractions, because when discipline is gained, individuals can cultivate a strong work ethic. In Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verses 10, it says, "Work hard at whatever you do, because there'll be no action no thought, no knowledge, no wisdom in the world of the dead. And that is where you'll be going. Taking chances and risks is sometimes all we have in life. Jumping with no guarantee of any cushion saving us when we fail is a risk. Courage is required when taking these dangerous steps. In this part of the story, we see Chris and his son Christopher go to Mr. Ribbon's home. This is a very risky move as he could potentially face rejection, damaging his credibility as an aspiring broker. This is where Mr. Ribbon asks him if he's going to the game. Knowing fully well he can't really afford the tickets, he uses his initiative and says yes anyway. Chris and Christopher get to see the game, and this is where Chris shoots his shot in hopes to grab Mr. Ribbon as a client. Unfortunately, despite his best efforts to grab Mr. Ribbon as a client, he declines. Chris has his head held up high and networks with other successful men at the game. I'm sure we've all heard the saying, rejection is just redirection. And in this case, it was true. Although Mr. Ribbon declined his offer, he still used his initiative to talk to other successful people in different fields and decided to get himself out there. We can see as a whole, taking opportunities and chances are key in life because you don't know the outcome of anything if you don't try. Don't be afraid and just take the shot. In Deuteronomy 31 verses 6, it says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or tremble at them, for the Lord God is the one who goes with you. He will not fail or forsake you." At times, we see Chris pick up Christopher from school because he's made that commitment after his ex-wife left for New York. He knew the journey would be tough, handling a career full-time and still looking after his child. But this was needed to provide a better life for his son. So Chris couldn't obviously go to parties, mess around, or even get into debt because he knew in order to be great, he must give up temporary satisfaction for today to achieve tomorrow's success. Now, I understand some of you guys may not have any children to sacrifice for, but there are some things that you could potentially sacrifice in this path of greatness that you're on, such as video games, excessive TV watching, social media, junk food, or even pointless relationships. In the Gospels, we often hear Jesus talk about the narrow path. In Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 to 14, he says, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads through to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow is the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." So, which road are you going to choose in this life of success? Whether that's your relationship with Jesus, your craft, or just life in general. Bearing in mind, only you can make this decision. Believing in one's ability is one of the key traits that stood out to me during this film. We see Chris point out his key attributes and what he feels like he can bring to the company, making him an asset in front of the CEOs. In one of the scenes, we see Chris insisting he can complete a Rubik's Cube. Initially, Mr. Twistle doesn't believe anything that he's saying, but through determination to prove him wrong, he completes it in a short amount of time. In your path to greatness, you must be willing to prove everybody wrong. And this will only come if you believe in what God has given to you. Yes, skills don't come right away, but you need to nurture the talent. You need to water it like a seed. And when it's to the time of harvest, you will see what you grinded for will come into fruition. And that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Please like, share and subscribe. Obviously I put a lot of effort into these videos as well, so please do so. I have some new music coming out this year as well, so stay tuned on the socials for that. And as always, all glory to Jesus Christ. I'll see you in the next one.